All right, award-winning urban fantasy trilogy, the Dream Rider Saga, is now available at all retailers, and writer Douglas Smith joins us in studio to tell us all about the books. What was your inspiration for the books? Obviously, it centers around a 17-year-old Will Dracon.
Yeah, what I was trying to do, it's a trilogy, it's an urban fantasy trilogy, but it's really one giant mystery that I'm telling over the 3 books. And what I was trying to do when I was writing them was recreate 2 kinds of stories that I loved when I was a kid. One was superheroes, and the other one was lost cities, lost cities in the jungle. So my tagline is Indiana Jones meets the Teen Titans. Yeah.
Now, for people who aren't really familiar with the series, why should they pick it up and read it?
A lot of reasons. It's the very first book, won 2 awards last year. Won Canada's Roar Award for Best Young Adult Novel, and also won the Indie Author Project Juried Award for the same thing. Readers will mention 3 things, the ones who have gone through the whole series. The 3rd book came out in January. It's fast-paced, it's fun, lots of twists and turns and surprises, but the one thing they always mention is they love the characters, and that by the end of the series they say they're sorry they're not going to be able to spend time with these characters anymore.
Now, as an urban fantasy, who are you targeting in terms of readers?
I guess the easy one is urban fantasy readers. Anyone who likes fantasy that's set in the real world, the contemporary world. So most of it takes place in Toronto over the first 2 books, or it's in fantastic realms. And then in the 3rd book, it moves to Peru. So we get the jungle, the lost city in the jungle part of it, and there's some cities like Arequipa and Cuzco in the 3rd book. But anyone who likes something that is set in our world, but there's something a little bit off, there's something unusual, something strange. It's aimed at both late young adults and adults.
And
too.
Adventurous too, obviously.
And adventure.
Yeah.
It's a supernatural adventure is the other way to describe it.
Now, can you jump into it mid-trilogy, or do you need to start with Hollow Boy?
Yeah, it is, you need to read them in order. So you start with the Hollow Boys, and then the second one is the Crystal Key, and the 3rd book that wraps up everything is the Lost Expedition. Each book has internal single book adventure in it that's wrapped up by the end of the book, but the overall mystery, you need to read the 3 books in order.
Now, when you started the process, did you know it was going to be a trilogy?
I knew it was going to be more than 1 book as soon as I got into the 1st book. It was very obvious. And then the way I write, I don't do an outline. I tend to write 3 or 4 chapters at once and see where it's going. I know where I want to get it by the end of it. But by the end of the 1st book, I'd figured, yeah, this is going to be a trilogy.
What kind of up and down kind of emotional roller coasters will people experience?
I think you're going to meet characters that you love who don't end up having the best fate. You're going to find characters that you think are no longer in the series that come back up. There is a romance between the Will figure you mentioned and a teenage girl that weaves through the 3 books. You're going to love the characters. They are put through a lot of tests and trials. What I say when someone asks me what the books are really about, if I have to put one word on it, it's family. It's about the family you're born into, the family that you find, and just sort of how you put together your group with the people who come into your lives.
Now, I'm sure you're asked this all the time, but is Will like somebody in your life, or is this complete imagination?
No, I am not a type of writer who says, yeah, I'll use that person as a character in my book. All of them are just amalgams of people that are in my imagination. And I'm a character writer, so I can't start writing a story until I really know the characters that are in it, sort of how they're going to react to a situation, and once I put them through a few of those, you start to understand, and they become easier to write.
All right, got to go. Thank you very much for your time. Plenty more Morning Live coming up after this.
Thanks, here.